Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. We break this thing down. Breaking news. CT with the chat. Let's talk about it. As Landry Shamet has been cut from the New York Knicks, we'll talk about what that means. We'll talk about what the Knicks' next move is going to be moving forward. But Landry Shamet, man, there's a great chance that he returns to the Knicks. But let's talk about it, guys. Salute to the chat. Salute Replay Squad. Let's get into it, man. A lot of NBA players are getting waived right now. Like I said last night, man, I promised we'd come on live and break this thing down with the community. So shout out, guys. Shout out Knicks Nation. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're new, hope you're having a great weekend so far. Salute Bob and salute Daniel and the many people coming through the chat. Let's talk about it, guys. Landry Shamet has been officially waived by the New York Knicks. Obviously, the Knicks had to make a roster decision. 5 p.m. today was the cutoff for the NBA. And we'll talk about what that means and what we need to do, man. Also want to talk about the lineups. I was thinking heavy last night, man. I'm really starting to buy into some lineup changes, especially off the back of Josh Hart's quotes as well. Something could be brewing with that, potentially Josh Hart getting moved back to the bench sooner rather than later as well. I know a lot of you guys have been, talking about that a lot and getting your piece out there as well. So salute S. Murphy, salute Paula, and DeMarcus in the building. Guys, we'll talk about the latest news. There's been so many players getting cut, man. Lonnie Walker is the biggest fish out there, I think, in a big fish in a small pond. I think he's available. The Knicks seem like they want to be trying to be flexible and trying to grab somebody. But Frank Kaminsky's been waived as well. But we start with the Landry Shamet latest, right? Obviously, reporting in Begley and many others, the Knicks were forced to make that decision. I thought TJ Warren was going to be able to stay, but it seems like the Knicks have got something else brewing. Now, it seems like TJ Warren has been cut as well. Chuma Okeke as well, which is no surprise to me. And so, yeah, with those three cuts, the New York Knicks are only at 12 roster spots, and they need to get to the guarantee 14 eventually, right? They can only basically be under the minimum for 2 weeks consecutively. And so, obviously, the likely move is to probably add Ariel Hukporti or another two-way player to one of the spots, and then they must add a veteran, I think, to the other one, probably on a non-guaranteed deal. And so that, there's flexibility to bring Landry Shamet back. Now, Shamet's been impressive in preseason. I would have loved him to be able to stick. But, obviously the injury was just going to take longer than anticipated. And the Knicks just had to make the right decision. And that's where I feel like this is the right decision, fam. Because I feel like, the Knicks need bodies. They need production to start the season. We'll talk more about Dadiet and whoever else is in line to get more minutes. But and we'll look at the highlights from last night. Some impressive moves. But like S. Murphy says, good move for now because that injury is tricky. Absolutely. I feel like it. So, I feel like they've got to be eyeing some bigger fish, and Lonnie Walker is at the top. And we'll see whatever else they do. There's other teams trying to swing some trades as well. It looks like former Knick Keita Bates-Diop, who was involved in the Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo trade to Minnesota. It looks like he's been waived by Minnesota as well. I'm not sure if the Knicks can get him back, but that could be something worth exploring if possible. I wouldn't mind trying to get Keita Bates-Diop back on the roster if we could as well, as some insurance at the 3-4 spots. But yeah, the Knicks will only owe Landry Shamet $15K because of the unguaranteed salary and the great contract that they gave him, which was an Exhibit 9 unguaranteed deal. Now, regarding TJ Warren, it looks like he's going to be intending to go to Westchester as well. So I think that's a nice little coup. The Knicks might have plans to try to bring TJ Warren back later in the season as well, if they can get under the second apron with more wiggle room. That'll be a possible opportunity as well, right? But I kind of felt like they would keep TJ Warren for now, but it does look like they're about to sign someone. So I feel like we're going to continue streaming tonight, and we'll see whatever else is up, man. We might catch this news live as well. But shout out to the chat. Brian, what's up? Sergeant Robert. And what's up, G-Man, my guy? Says, it's business. Poor Sham. Good luck to him and his recovery on his career. Yeah, man, I echo those thoughts, man. I feel like Landry Shamet would have made the squad. He would have got serious minutes. It's just an unbelievable shame to get injured like that. A serious kind of injury, in a preseason game. And we wish him well on his recovery, man. And I feel like this isn't a goodbye. I feel like this is a see you later for Landry Shamet. I feel like there is a lot of reporting coming out right now and a lot of talk that the Knicks are impressed and are going to try to get him back on the roster. I think this is purely a wiggle room kind of, a financial move right now to free things up. But salute, what's up, Buzzer Beater? What's up, chat? We're buzzing right now to the latest news. Hope you're having a great weekend. And we're going to see what happens with the Knicks' next move coming up, right? But Josh Hart's quotes yesterday, man, it was telling, saying that I'm lost. We've got to figure things out. If that means I have to go back to the bench, we'll see what happens. But I'm paraphrasing him. That's basically what he said. And I feel like there's a lot more movement now. There's a lot more buzz for a switch up. It's early. The Knicks only lost one game. It's preseason. But yeah, the start of the season is going to be tough. It's going to be Boston, Indiana, Cleveland, and Miami. It's going to be baptism by fire. And the Knicks better get right. They better get right early. I'm impressed by OG Anunoby. He's in mid-season form. I'm impressed by Jalen Brunson, of course, as well. I'm kind of lukewarm on Cat. Right? I'm not down. I'm not up. I'm just lukewarm on Cat. I don't know a lot of you guys are too. Right? You see the vision. I see the movement, the floor spacing. He's an active body. He's a big. We needed a center. I get it. But I want to see better shooting from Cat. I want to see him continue to drive the basketball, be aggressive. He does get to the foul line, which was impressive. He does pass the ball really well as well. That's a big tick. He seems to play really well off Jalen Brunson. So that's a big tick as well for the Cat. But what are some concerns is, the defensive rim protection. I think rebounding's been fairly solid. So, as a team, we are a bit weaker defensively, rebounding-wise. But I feel like, you can't just replace Mitch and Hart overnight. It's going to have to be a team effort. And so I'm going to, hold my reservations, and we wait and we see, fam, as well as Julian Blum's in the building. And Buzzer Beater hits on my next point, man. Great minds think alike. And this is what I was thinking last night, fam. Switch things up if things go south early, right? Maybe not necessarily right away, but if things go south early, we can switch things up. And I'm going to bring up my suggestion for that lineup right now. And we're going to go through the latest free agents and see what the Knicks' next move is going to be, fam, as well. So smash that like button if you're just coming in. And salute to you, salute to Knicks Nation. And subscribe to the channel if you are new. Right, but let me bring this up on the big screen. I'm going to talk about the bench a lot more as well. But if there is a switch up, and I'm not saying I'm do this right away, but if there is a switch up, this is something that I would really look at, man, seriously look at, right? Mixing the bench and the starters together, man, and try to get the best blend of two good lineups right now. And what do we know? We know that Bridges is struggling, and we know that Josh Hart is struggling, and we know that Deuce McBride has been shooting the ball well, and he complements, everybody that he plays with, basically. I mean, Deuce McBride can play with anybody, and Precious Achiuwa, like Buzzer said, has had a really impressive preseason. So this is my suggestion for now. What do you guys think about? Let me know. What do you think about a Brunson, Deuce McBride, OG Anunoby, Cat with Precious Achiuwa? That could be interchangeable. Right? I don't really care if Precious at the 4, Cat's at the 5, or vice versa. It's interchangeable. So JB, Deuce, OG, Cat, and Achiuwa. And then that allows Cameron Payne to play alongside a guy with more size, Mikal Bridges. He can run the bench unit, can hopefully find his shot, less scrutiny, less pressure. I think Pacome Dadiet is a body you could throw in there as the shooter. Josh Hart and Sims or Hukporti as well. I think that's the perfect blend of a potential starting five and a bench lineup as well. And it's up for debate about how much you would play, those two together. Julian says, I like that. CT, I like that. Appreciate that, man. And also you say, I'm not as excited about Cat, but I'm going to give him a shot as well, man. That's what's up. It's really early still. We're going to see what things look like, in the real deal. That's why I said I'm ready for preseason to be over. And this is my next point, the reason why. Preseason is basically like, it's forever a rehearsal, right? And until you do the real show, you're never going to know what's good, what's bad, all of that. Preseason is like a Band-Aid, man. It just needs to be ripped off, You could play 50 preseason games and still it don't mean anything, You don't get the full test out of it because players don't go 100%. Players are like, they know it's preseason. They know there's no consequences if you lose. They're just, messing around mostly as well. And yes, you can draw some things from it, especially from the young players and the rookies and how they look and different lineups and things like that. But I honestly feel like preseason, man, the sooner that it's over, the better. Because we're not going to know where we need to get better at. We're not going to know what's good, what's bad until we play Boston. Baptism by fire. And I feel like playing Charlotte twice, playing Washington twice didn't help the cause, man. It just did not help the cause, man. I would have preferred to play Minnesota 5 times. I would have preferred to play Chicago even, played Toronto, just played somebody with different looks as well. And I feel like that would have given the Knicks a better chance. But we'll continue talking about this tonight. Salute Maverick Mac in the building and salute MD. Michael Drake's in the house. Let's get it. Paula says that's a short backcourt. It is a short backcourt. But I feel like with Cat, OG, and Achiuwa, you make up for that with a larger front court as well, right? And so, yeah, Deuce has played next to Brunson, and I think the shooting is there. I think that's the main thing. Right now, Bridges is struggling, and we can't have that 0 of 10. And not that I think that that's going to continue. Not that I think that that's going to be forever what we're going to see, because I know we hope not. But in terms of being a basketball player, Mikal Bridges is going to be fine, man, long term. He's just got to figure out that shot, and there's been a lot of conversations had, why has he changed the shot? What's he doing? All of those things. I mean, it didn't stop him from shooting the ball well in training camp. There was a lot of footage out there of Bridges, basically sinking open threes, and looking decent. I think, last night was just, it was conformed of a bad night together with some lack of confidence and maybe the shot just needs a bit more tweaking to it as well, right? But yeah, more people coming through the chat. Salute, rocking out with us live. Smash that like button and let us know your piece on this one. We'll shout it out as well, right? The positives to come from preseason, right? As we continue waiting for further news on the Shamet and the Knicks pickup, right, to fill out the 14 roster spots, right? The locks for the rotation, man. It'll be Deuce McBride, it'll be Cameron Payne, and it'll be Precious Achiuwa, right? I think those 3 have been really solid preseason, and I'm encouraged by what I've seen, right? Last night, Pacome Dadiet shot the basketball really well. I see some Wise fans saying pump the brakes a little bit on a Pacome Dadiet hype train, right? And I understand where they're coming from that vantage point. As I pull up some more highlights from last night and Pacome Dadiet's performance, man. We'll go through that right now, and Kolek's game as well. But with Pacome Dadiet, the reason why I feel like he can just slot in is because he's shot the ball well, 2 of 3 from deep. He cuts well off the ball. It's exactly what the starting 5 needs, next to Brunson, next to Cat. We don't need another ball dominant guy, So yes, you could talk about Pacome Dadiet's defense. I'm with you on that. That's a wait and see. But at the point where we're at right now, we don't have Landry Shamet. We don't have Marcus Morris. We don't have other guys to talk about yet. And so Dadiet is a player for the future. So why wouldn't you just put him out there for 8 minutes, for 12 minutes? I don't think it's really going to hurt you, right? It's not going to lose you the ball game. We're not winning a championship right now. It's October. And so I feel like playing Dadiet early will be beneficial, for the future, right? And I feel like with that said, there's a lot of pleasing things that we've seen from the man, such a young player, right? And I will go through the highlights right now. Here he is, reads the play, knows that JB is sort of cornered off, makes a great timely cut. Buzzer says, are the expectations too high for Mikal? That's a fair question, man. I really feel like that's a fair question. It's a great question. I think expectations were high. I don't think they were too high, but they were high. You give up 5 first-round draft picks. There has to be high expectations coming in. So I feel like there was a reasonable expectation from Knicks Nation that Bridges at least be shooting, 35, 37%. And he hasn't done that yet. Now, the main point to read into is the fact that he's only played 4 games, and those guys did sit out the 4th preseason game, and I feel like that's to be taken into consideration. And then I feel like Mikal Bridges will get it going, so I'm not worried about him long term. But is it wise to maybe switch things up a little bit? Deuce is in a rhythm. We need to win ball games early, and I feel like Deuce needs heavy consideration to be starting, right? And maybe let Bridges find his groove, right? Maverick Mac says Bridges will find his groove. New team trying to find his role as well. Agree with you, man. Great point. Let's see how it plays out. Ball player, had a bigger role in Brooklyn. I think it's just going to take his time to find his rhythm. And one thing I've noticed too, guys, is that when you come from a bad team, it takes a little bit longer to shake off some of that funk, that stench from Brooklyn, right? And I use an example. Remember when Alec Burks and remember when Bojan Bogdanovic came from Detroit? How many games did it take them to actually get going? Remember, there was a large portion of fans saying, let's send these guys back to Detroit, man. What did we do? And then what ended up happening was that Alec Burks came good, Bojan Bogdanovic started hitting shots, big shots against Philly in the playoffs, and Alec Burks against Indiana in the playoffs as well. So my point is, it takes a little bit of time for these players coming from losing teams, I think, to shake off some of that funk, fam. And I feel like that'll be in play as well. We'll see. But yes, it's a shame he's altered his shot. And in terms of Bridges, man, he just needs to do other things better. It's not always about the shot, too. Salute Darren and salute Joseph and Stanley. What's up, guys? Let us know your thoughts. Julian says, I like Pacome. He's not scared to let it fly. He cuts to the rim and says a lot. That says a lot. He's in constant movement. Amen. 100%. Stanley also says Dadiet is ready for at least 10 to 15 coming off the bench. He plays good defense, cuts well without the ball, and shoots the corner threes. Plus, he's played professionally. So great comment, guys. And yeah, to echo off you guys, I think what we saw from Tibbs last night, I feel like he's in line to get a serious consideration. Maybe not against Boston, but I feel like Tibbs was using last night to try to find out who's going to be my 9th guy. And lo and behold, Pac-Man was that guy to get meaningful minutes. Second quarter, came in, small minute sample. But I think Tibbs is like what he's seen so far. And I think as a young player who's just turned 19, he's actually getting better, every single day. These young kids, they grow quickly, man, literally in mentally and physically. So he's growing in stature, in size. He's in a rhythm. I mean, how many players did we have last night that shot as efficient as Pac-Man? Right, as I bring up the box score, we had Dadiet go 2 of 3 from deep. Right, I mean, if he's shooting well, you got to play the kid. That's just where I sit. I know there's a lot of fans with concerns over his defense, but I mean, look at the veterans first. Don't look at rookies' defense. So many fans are quick to, to heap on these rookies and their defense. Where's the ire for Josh Hart's defense and Mikal Bridges? You know, those guys are, are seven-figure salaries, eight-figure salaries, those guys. They need to play better defense, not Dadiet and not Tyler Kolek. They're rookies. The veterans need to lead by example. I think better. 10 or 15 minutes of bad rookie defense is not going to lose you the ball game, right? The starters have to play better, I feel. So that's where I sit with that one, man. But with that said, I feel better after the preseason in some ways in terms of the bench depth. Cameron Payne, I feel like he's important now in the absence of Landry Shamet. I feel like Tyler Kolek is really important early. Huck Porty, Mos Def, and also, Achiuwa, of course, and of course, Dadiet too. Sims, I don't know the read yet. I don't know what Tibbs is thinking, man. I feel like Tibbs will be using any example, to hook Sims whenever he can, if he's not getting what he needs. With that, Joseph says Bridges is alternating his shot and said he's trying to find that stuff that he had in college as well, while he was hitting 40%. Yeah, it's a testament to him to be able to continue shooting well after he's been working on the shot for so long. But what we need right now is results, So that's why I'm posing this suggestion, guys. If anyone that's just joining us, salute Knicks Nation. Smash that like button. You're rocking with the best chat in the biz right now. This is a suggestion that I had, and I don't know if it's realistic. I don't know if Tibbs would even look at it. We'll probably have to lose some games to see. Right now, I feel like Tibbs will let the starters figure things out. But on that note, man, I feel like a Brunson, Deuce, OG, Cat, Achiuwa lineup would help offense, would help defense with Deuce and Achiuwa. And then I also feel like a bench unit of Payne, Mikal Bridges, Dadiet, Hart, Huck Porty would blend a nice mix of experience with some shot making as well. And we'll see how that all plays out, guys. But to echo the top of the show, Landry Shamet has been unfortunately cut. However, I think it's not a goodbye. It's a see you later, and they'll be looking to try to get him back on the roster right now. As I continue shouting out the chat and refreshing to see what's up with the latest, we'll see what's happening with the Knicks moves. Right. There's a lot of injuries, a lot of things happening now. So it looks like Max Strauss is out for 6 weeks with an ankle sprain. Right. So there's a lot of movements happening. We've got Killian Hayes been waived. And we're going to talk about the most notable free agents available on the market right now. Lonnie Walker is at the very top. Guys, who would you love to see come in? Marcus Morris is still available as well. Keita Bates-Diop has also been cut by Minnesota, I believe, as well. Right. So the Knicks could always bring Shamet back, but they decided to go the flexible route, says James Edwards of The Athletic. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So Fred Katz has weighed in as well. I'm going to bring this up. So let's talk about the Knicks strategy. So Fred Katz says, a strategy I'd expect from the Knicks, dipping below the mandated 14 players on the roster since they're so close to the hard cap. We can go 2 weeks under 14 players, right? But we've got opening night and we've got some big games coming up. So I don't know if they're going to do this long term. But we can go 2 weeks below the 14 players until we get, back up. It saves them a little bit of money, and they can do that multiple times as well. So are the Knicks kind of going a little bit of financial gymnastics right now? We know Brock Aller is a specialist at that. It makes sense because we are really, tough financially in a pinch right now. So the Knicks can basically go 2 consecutive weeks below 14 players to save money. And then we might have to add somebody. Maybe we add Shamet again. Maybe we add TJ Warren later as well. And we can do that multiple times throughout the season. First Last is in the building with a question. We can only go two-way contracts, correct? Right now we have 3, Huck Porty, McCullar, and Toppin. So we can actually go 3, fam. 3 is the allowed two-way spot. So we've got Toppin, Huck Porty, and we've also got McCullar. So we're right at where we're at with that. We don't need to make any further changes. However, maybe we can convert Huck Porty to one of these main roster spots to fill the 13th spot. But I think the Knicks will only do that when they're ready to give him a long-term deal. And so the contract doesn't start. I think that's the biggest concern right now. So basically, I'm reading into what Fred's saying. I think the Knicks might be waiting a couple of weeks, right? And maybe we go into the season with just 14 bodies. 12 main bodies with the 3 two-ways, right? The 3 two-ways being, those guys that you said. But also that could mean that we see Jericho Sims, we see Tyler Kolek, we see Dadiet play serious minutes in this first stretch of the season, or as at least options. We do have some options. Obviously, Deuce, Precious, and Payne gets us to the 8-man rotation. Sims or Kolek or Huck Porty or Dadiet could get us to 9. And I feel like that's what Tibbs will be looking to do. I don't think Tibbs is going to be looking to play 10 men, early. But let us know your thoughts on that, right? As the follow-up, I don't think they're going to convert Huck Porty right now. I think they'll wait a little bit, but I think he'll be first in line to get that conversion, right? Now, it's interesting, Lonnie Walker is available, and if it was up to me personally, I would sign him right now. I would sign him ASAP, right? He's too good of an NBA player to just not grab. He's free. Waiver wire, costs you nothing outside of a standard deal, right? And then you could cut him if you want to bring Shamet back, So obviously you can't keep Lonnie Walker and Shamet together because they both earn a veteran's minimum, and we can't afford that right now. And so it further highlights why I think the Knicks will do a trade later in the season to shed some extra salary. We can all speculate who that might be, whoever is on a tradable larger contract. But I feel like the Knicks are going to do something later to get that number down, so that they can fill out 15 spots as well. What's up, Optimus 2G? Nelly Nell's in the house. Keyshawn, what's up? I agree. Lonnie Walker is the shooting guard that we should grab, even if it's just for a short-term deal. If they want to get Shamet back, I get it, right? Nelly also says Lonnie Walker would be a steal. And yeah, Huck Porty needs to be that guy that we convert. He will get a standard contract eventually. I think it's just all coming down to timing, my friends. I feel like timing is everything, because as Fred Katz is saying right now, the Knicks might be doing this strategically to be under the 14 players for a couple of weeks just to save a bit of money, I mean, to you and me, it doesn't mean anything. We know these guys are loaded. James Dolan's a billionaire, but it's still a lot of money. A couple weeks, you're into the tax. You're paying serious cash right now. You got Cat, Bridges, Hart, Brunson, OG, a lot of money out there, man. You got Mitch, Precious. The New York Knicks salary bill is extremely high right now. So I can understand, for the first time in maybe my entire lifetime, my entire fandom, that the Knicks are actually trying to do a little bit of cost saving, right? Which is crazy to think about. But I don't know if our tax bill has been as high as it's ever been right now, as it is now. Even in the Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire era, it wasn't even that high. We got Cat earning 58 mil, Brunson, Bridges, and all of those guys as well. So this could be a short-term thing, and I hope it is. But let's get it. What's up, Wilson? Replay squad's in the house, but you're with us live. I think I've seen you for the first time, but welcome in as well. Joseph says Tibbs won't use more than 10 guys. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't think he'll go 10 even in the beginning. I think he'll probably keep Kolek, he'll probably keep Hukpority and probably Sims on ice, right? If I have to guess who the 9 men is right now, I think Dadiet is in it, ladies and gentlemen. Dadiet Hive. I feel like he's going to be in the 9-man rotation to start. I feel like it's going to be Deuce, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know your 9-man. But I feel like it's Deuce, Payne, Precious, and it's going to be Dadiet, right? I don't think he, is going to trust Sims as much. We didn't see much last night of Jericho Sims. One of the games he fouled out as well. And I also don't know if he's going to trust Hukpority in the beginning outside of foul trouble and outside of an injury. After that, I feel like he'll have no hesitation throwing Hukpority in there. But if he doesn't need to, I think he'll try to work it out with Precious. Optimus says caponomics. Absolutely, that's a great word to use on that. Dwayne Freddy says, yeah, 2-pack makes the rotation. 4-pack. Yes, he wears the number 4. That's a nice one, man. 4-pack makes the rotation. Great one, Dwayne. I think he's in the rotation as well, fam. I really do. Right, we'll continue shouting him out in his highlights as well. But shout out to the chat right now. Smash that like button. Let us know any questions, your thoughts about this Knicks move. Bob, no updates yet on Precious's injury, unfortunately. I feel like we'll probably find out something for their next practice, hopefully by tomorrow. That is the case, but I'm going to keep refreshing right now to see what else is happening. So we've got Brandon Boston been waived by San Antonio. I know there's a Moses Brown Hive as well. That's part of our community. So shout out Moses Brown Hive as well. Do we get Moses Brown back? I think he's going to be in Westchester together now that we know with TJ Warren as well. So I salute TJ Warren. He took the non-guaranteed deal and now he's going to go to Westchester and hopefully be a part of the future. We'll see how that plays out, right? But like you, I would prefer us to get Lonnie Walker in the building ASAP. How crazy of a story would that be, guys, if we had Lonnie Walker on our squad against Boston on opening night as part of the team, right? After just getting waived by Boston, right? That'd be insane. So what are your thoughts? I see Coach in the building. What's up? Buzzer Beater says hashtag vote for Tyler Kolek as a standout player of preseason. Optimus, I feel like Precious is going to be out for probably anywhere between, and I'm just speculating, man. I feel like it's going to be anywhere between 1 to 2 to 3 weeks. I don't think he's going to play opening night, right? Those things are tricky. Anyone that's tweaked a hamstring should know that you don't risk that. There's no need to risk that. So, on that note, it changes my prediction on the opening night rotation, which is probably going to be Hukpority or Jericho. It has to be. We're too small. And so Dadiet is definitely going to be a part of the rotation opening night if Precious can't go. Shamet's obviously out. I feel like it's going to be Deuce, Payne, Dadiet, and either Sims or Hukpority. Maybe both of them. So it's going to be really interesting, guys. A lot of questions right now. Jose says Mikal Bridges' jump shot is broken. I feel like he needs to get confidence. He needs to get reps. It looks decent in practice. He was hitting open practice. So we've got 2 open roster spots, fam. That is the deal right now. The New York Knicks will probably run it into the season with just 12 guys to save a little bit of money. But then after 2 weeks, they'll have to add somebody. So it'll be Hukpority. It'll be, they either sign Lonnie Walker, Marcus Morris might come back, maybe Landry Shamet might even come back, and they just save a little bit of money that way. So yeah, this also could be what the Knicks do, fam. The Knicks might just have cut Lonnie Walker for just 2 weeks, right? Just to save that little bit of money, and they might even add him back after 2 weeks. So let's not get too carried away. Let's not think that Lonnie Walker's going to be out for like 8 weeks or something. The fact that they've cut Lonnie Walker right now could just mean that there's no point paying him money if he's going to be out. So they just cut him for 2 weeks and then just add him back. Again, we'll see how that plays out. We do have Frank Kaminsky available too. I did shout that out earlier as well. So Paula said hamstrings are tricky. You can tweak them just by walking. You can tweak them and make them worse by playing as well. So yeah, let's all give prayers up to Precious, and hopefully it ain't too long, man. But the New York Knicks have options, fam. Whether it is guys like Moses Brown, converting Huck Porty, signing Lonnie Walker, Marcus Morris, TJ Warren. They did cut. So it really is hard to read into what is happening outside of them just saving a little bit of money, right, and just waiting for Lonnie Walker to get back. I feel like it's a really safe bet. Landry Shamet, sorry. There's a really safe bet that Landry Shamet comes back. There is a lot of talk about the New York Knicks being really high on Walker, appreciating what he's done and how he's looked as well. So I feel like he should be on this squad at some point this season. It's not a goodbye. It's just a see you later for now. So yeah, I corrected myself. Appreciate you, man. I meant to say Landry Shamet, not Lonnie Walker. So, but Landry Shamet, I don't think we've seen the last of him. I think he will end up returning to the squad. Simply rehabilitation right now, and there's just no point paying the man while you need that flexibility to maybe make a move, and add another guy, right? Frank Kaminsky has averaged 8.8 points, shot 35% from three, over 8 NBA seasons. What do you guys think, fam? Do we need him? Would you prefer a like-for-like swap for a Landry Shamet, right? As Begley's saying right now, I don't think anything has been decided with regards to Shamet eventually coming back. Knicks went through a complex process last season with Juju and the shoulder concern, and they now know how complicated it can be, right? That's a great point, man. It's like every day could be different. You wake up, the shoulder feels great. The next day, there's a setback, or it doesn't feel great. So I feel like that's why the Knicks open that door for flexibility. So with 5 days removed from the injury, it's too early to tell if he can make a full comeback. I do know the Knicks would consider re-signing him if the rehab process goes well, right? So yeah, I like what the Knicks have done, man. I'm not going to lie. You need to be ruthless, but I do hope we add somebody. Now, there is a lot of trade wins happening right now. The Bucks are reportedly interested in trading a wing, defensive two-way wing, Marjon Beauchamp, who's had some moments in the league. Let us know your thoughts on him. The Bucks have informed rival teams that Milwaukee are interested in trading the kid, right? He's had some moments, a little inconsistent, but there's a lot of potential with a Marjon Beauchamp as well. You could pick him up maybe on the cheap. What's up, David, in the building? Great to see you. What's up with White Lotus as well? The problem is any team can come in and swoop on Landry Shamet, yes. But I feel like there's a bit of loyalty there. And if the Knicks have just communicated to his agent that, hey, when you're healthy, we'll bring you back, I don't think there'll be any need for him to look elsewhere. He knows there's a shooting guard role with us as well on the squad. But good shout. So yeah, here are some guys. Here are some guys available. What are you thinking? You got Lonnie Walker. You got DSJ. We don't need him. You got Mook Morris. Markel Fultz. There's a few people hit us up about him, but I feel like there's too much of a duplicate with Tyler Kolek, with with the other guys, Cameron Payne. and so forth. We've got Nas Little. We've got Jay Crowder, Rocco, Brissett, Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday could fit the mold of that wing, although he's a bit past it now. You got Daniel House, Bismack Biyombo as well. I don't know if the Knicks are going to go big. It looks like they do trust Jericho and they do trust Huck Porty a bit more. So I feel strongly that the Knicks aren't really searching heavily for a fringe big. You know, if it's a major piece, that's a big. I feel like that could be something. But if it is a smaller move for a big, I don't know if that's what we need right now. I feel like Huck Porty looks pretty solid. I feel like they might see what Sims has got to start the season early, right? But yeah, for the first time in my fandom, man, the New York Knicks are trying to save a little bit of money in terms of going under the 14 players. It's going to be really interesting to see how long they want to do that. Nelly says opening night would be Brunson, Deuce, Bridges, Anunoby, Cat. With the bench, Payne, Kolek, Dadiet, Hart, and Sims. Payne/Hart on that. Yeah, it's hard to know which way he's going to go between Huck Porty, Sims, and Kolek and Dadiet. Now, not having Precious, assuming that he's not going to be right for opening night, I think that does make the decision a bit easier. Someone else is going to have to play, outside of the rotation. I feel like Dadiet is more closer to getting that spot. Last night was the closest thing we can read into a real deal. And Tom Thibodeau doesn't usually mess around when it comes to the, full dress rehearsal. And so, yeah, Dadiet took his chance. He shot the ball well. Yeah, yes, there were some lapses defensively. But like I said earlier, I feel like guys need to point the finger at other players, not just rookies' defense, right? If you're shooting the ball 2 or 3 from deep, you're playing better than Josh Hart right now. You're playing better than Mikal Bridges. Those guys aren't even defending very well either. So I feel like we shouldn't be too harsh on Pacome Dadiet, Tyler Kolek. Those guys are actually making plays and swishing shots. And so for me personally, throw them out there, right? You got nothing to lose. We need bodies right now. And I'm not impressed by Josh Hart's offensive game right now. I mean, he's not shooting or he's putting up 2 points in the entire preseason. Meanwhile, a 19-year-old rookie who's playing his first minutes as an NBA player is actually outshining you. And that's not a hot take. The stats back it up. Nas Little, says Darren. Darren says Nas Little looks like he's headed to the G League. Marvin says Dadiet is doing good. Appreciate that. One guy I feel like we could get, and I would look into getting back, is Keita Bates-Diop. I was low key, a bit peeved that we played. We packaged him in the deal for Cat. Obviously Dante, Hurts, Julius, all of that, the first round pick. But we had to give up a proper rotation player as well in Keita Bates-Diop just to make the money work. And so it's unfortunate. I think if we had Keita Bates-Diop on this roster, we'd be talking a little different because he would have played preseason and he would have played, serious minutes. And Precious is out. He would have just stepped in for Precious's minutes as well. He was a low-key grade pickup in the Mikal Bridges Brooklyn Nets deal. What's up, Quentin? Says facts. Hard tackle. Says Dadiet playing good as well. Real talk. Salute. So yeah, look, Dadiet is not going to feature in a lot of minutes, but the fact that Precious is out, I feel like he should get a spot. Let us know your thoughts, guys, as well. You're rocking with the best chat in the biz. Hope you're having a blessed weekend, chopping up the latest news that we come on live to talk about, and that is Landry Shamet has been cut. Everything's still up in the air over the remaining 2 roster spots, although we do know that TJ Warren is headed to Westchester, which I think is quite notable, because normally if you're a veteran like TJ Warren and you get cut, you could be like, to hell with this place. I'm gonna try to find a big club. But the talk is that TJ Warren is happy going to Westchester. The Knicks invested in him in time and rehabilitation, training camp. They gave him that small guarantee to be part of camp and preseason as well. And I think it's a small payback to stay in Westchester for now. And maybe the Knicks will look to get TJ Warren back, when they can. They keep him in their backyard, basically. And so, if we are pressed for bodies, if another guy goes down, we have to fill another roster spot. 12 is as low as we can go, right? If a guy gets injured, we probably have to sign someone ASAP. So we'll see what happens with that. Joseph says Mark Heath tweeted that his brother loves playing for the Knicks. Yeah, I saw that too, man. I shouted that out last night. Keith Morris liked the tweet saying that the Knicks had internal interest in bringing Mook back. So watch that space. Optimus says, can they get him back so soon, rules-wise, CT, after trading him? Yeah, with regards to Keita Bates-Diop, I feel like they could, man. Or maybe they need to wait 4 more months. I think at the minimum, there might be that 6-month restriction. But if not, I don't see why. We traded him and then he got cut. And after he clears waivers, the season hasn't begun yet. So if there's a possibility, I would look into it. Coach says Nas Little waived. He worth a look as well. Nelly says Leon will convert Huck Porty. I'm hoping that happens at some point soon, man. Because I think the man is on a 40-day restriction. That's the unfortunate with the 2-way contract. You can only play 40 days with the big club right now. And we don't need those restrictions, man. We need a guy that can suit up and be ready for next man up. Some bad news hasn't even hit yet. We don't even know how long Precious is going to be out. To answer Flizzy's question in the chat, Precious could be out for anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks or longer, man. He tweaked the hamstring. So, yeah, I think he's going to miss a couple games at least. These early games come thick and fast, right? The season's starting on Tuesday. So I don't feel like Precious is going to be ready, right? So it's next man up right away as the season's starting up, man. Noteworthy is that obviously Jake Toppin, we didn't get to see him much at all. I don't think there's a lot of trust there from Tibbs personally. It is a bit of a shame because I do know that Jake Toppin has some fans, Summer League. There was some moments, some flashes, but it doesn't look like Tibbs has any trust in playing Toppin meaningful minutes. Otherwise I think he would have thrown him out there. He was a hybrid 3-4. And the other one is Kevin McCullar, right? Still in street clothes. Haven't even had a proper look at him yet. So that's a shame as well. Would have loved to see him. Maybe the NBA has closed that loophole, Optimus, in terms of getting guys back that you just traded away to. Kiniora says Huck Porty def on the team now. Sims stay now. We need as many of those big bodies as possible, man. All it takes is a Cat or a Precious injury, and we're in a tough spot. But we got the flexibility, which is why I see the Knicks doing this. Waiving Landry Shamet. Because what's happening right now, guys, is it's kind of like a mini. It's a mini free agency right now, which is kind of underrated on the NBA calendar in terms of teams are having to make final cuts, and a lot of decent players are getting cut right now. I'm not going to lie. Not that I rate him very highly, but Killian Hayes just got waived. Rotation players, Lonnie Walker, Nas Little, Frank Kaminsky, Markel Fultz. There's a lot of players getting squeezed out, which is why I know a lot of you guys have been talking about expansion, and the NBA needs to add more teams, man. There's not enough roles for players right now. I talked about Trez Harrell, Montrez is also playing in Australia right now. He's doing well, and he's hoping to jump on an NBA team soon, before the playoffs start. And so Montrezl Harrell's trying to get back into the league. We know John Wall was trying to get back into the league. Isaiah Thomas, tried a little bit last season, and he did some things as well. But it's all because of the rooks. Every year, 60 rookies get drafted, and 60 roster spots don't become available. Basically, rookies squeeze out some veterans when it comes to that, right? So every year, some solid veterans get cut. But because some young cats, some hungry lions are coming up right now, is Dadiet one of those guys? Tyler Kolek looks like he is. I like Kevin McCullar's game as well. Hemi's a tricky, says Optimus, absolutely. Knicks fan 13 says Kevin McCullar was injured, right? Yes. Yeah, I feel like it's just taken longer, man. Just talking to some draft scouts, there was major concerns over his medicals. So that's the reason why Kevin McCullar has slipped, man, to the 56th pick, right? He's better than that. He's a serious talent, first-round talent, is Kevin McCullar. But the medicals, they're quite concerning. They're seriously concerning because his NCAA season got shut down. It seems like a new injury that keeps popping up. Had a knee scope. I'm praying for the kid. Hopefully he can, have a healthy NBA career. I think the Knicks need him for the future. I think 6'6". He's longer than Josh Hart. I think he has a better jump shot. And I think he's a Tibbs kind of guy. But we need to see what it is. And Paula, his injury is a knee injury from what I hear. Knee, lower leg kind of thing as well. So, there was a knee scope to clean up some fragments, and then there was just a heap of other things throughout his NBA, his college career. The list is too long to name. We've got our other center as well, which is James Nagy. Singer Speak in the chat says, we got him playing overseas. Where's Moses Brown at? Yeah, I think the Knicks are taking a close look at all these guys. Westchester, I think that's a good use for that platform. Moses Brown is going to be there from what I hear. I think TJ Warren is going to be playing in Westchester. I think on nights where Dadiet, Kolek aren't playing, McCullar would typically be in Westchester. But right now, I don't think that's going to be the case, fam. For now, I feel like those guys need to be on the bench, right? I'm not sitting Kolek in Westchester if the Knicks are in Boston playing. I need all these guys suited and booted, right, to start the season. Really, we've got bodies going down. And so Precious might be out. Huck Porty definitely needs to be in uniform. Dadiet definitely, and Kolek as well. Kaiser Soze, what's up? But yeah, James Nagy, I like him for the future. That was a really sneaky, good pickup for that move that we did. We ended up getting something extra out of it, thankfully, right now. But let me know in the chat, man. Rate the starting five. How are you feeling about it? Rate it out of 10, man. Do you give it a 6? Are you giving it an 8? What is your concern level right now with the New York Knicks starting five, man? All it takes is one great night on opening night, man. Everything clicks and the noise is just going to die down. But right now, there's significant reason to be concerned because they have not looked good, all together. I'm talking about all five guys look good together at the same time. I'm not talking about Cat and Brunson looking good. I'm talking about all of the guys as well. Big Johnson, what's up, says 9, Paula 8. Well, so you guys are still feeling good about it. Kolek is good enough to come off the bench now, says Kaiser Soze. I feel like Tibbs's hand is going to get forced a little. I know there's a lot of people talking about, rookies and the narrative about Tibbs, over the last 3 decades. But I feel like this is a new day. This is a new day. the Knicks have a strategy and plan. They got Tyler Kolek, who was a 4-year college player, and I feel like he's more ready than your typical rook, and he's shown it to his credit. On the flip side, Huck Porty has shown that he's ready for minutes. I mean, he hasn't looked shook. And also on the flip side, Pacome Dadiet has had some rough moments, but also has had some really good moments as well. And as Knicks fan 13 says, I heard that Hart wants to come off the bench. I think he was talking half jokingly, but I also feel like he was talking about potential. As I bring this up as a potential move for the future. I feel like Hart just wants to do what's best for the team. He ain't worried if he starts, or he ain't worried if he comes off the bench. And so if Tibbs is open to this, I would bring JB, Deuce, OG, and Cat with Precious to start it out. Fortify the shooting and the defense for opening night. Obviously, if Precious can't go, then that changes that, drastically. But then you got Payne, Mikal Bridges, Dadiet, Hart, and Huck Porty. I think that's a nice mix of guys that can shoot, play, make, experience as well, right? B. Willis says, we never look this weak in the paint, bruh. I mean, Mitch is a factor. Hopefully he can get back right at the start of January, because he could be a huge boost for the squad. But yeah, Huck Porty's look like a solid backup right now. I think rim protection is the main thing I'm concerned about. There was a couple of open layup lines, but what I'm not worried about is rebounding as much. I think Carl Anthony has worked out pretty solid with the rebounding. 3 offensive boards last night, 12 total. I do feel like Hart could probably step it up a bit rebounding wise, especially with bricking. I mean, I was expecting our rebounding to go down because we're shooting the ball better. But, it's tough after preseason, after seeing all these bricks, and the rebounding can still get better, I feel, as well. But we are getting to the free throw line, which is a positive too. What's up, Will? Says CT, I'm not concerned. This is a whole new team, and it will take some time to get to the peak of what we can be. Yeah, I agree with you, Will. Appreciate that. There is concerns about the shooting. I feel like Bridges will be okay. He'll be fine long terms playing with the starting 5. But I feel like there is something to the Hart question going to the bench. I feel like that is something that is worth looking at. Get Deuce McBride into the starting 5 in the case of Hart, and you get a little bit of size and ball movement with the bench next to Cameron Payne with Josh Hart. And so I think that is something to look out for coming, down the pipe. We'll see. Flizzy Flex though says we can't bring Hart off the bench because we'll need his rebounding too. That is something to look out for as well. We do lose some rebounding if Deuce is in the starting 5, which is why I said bring Precious and switch it all up with that. You need an extra rebounder there with Precious. So maybe you do a double change and you bring Mikal and Hart off the bench. Kaiser Soze says Hart can be the backup shooting guard. Coach Sire says no Warren, Shamet, or Kiki. Does that mean Mook Morris is coming back? For now, I think it means that there is a possibility. Yeah, we can add any 2 players. We can add 1 veteran, and then we have to convert 1 rookie, Huck Porty, which I think we're kind of just chilling with at the moment, and we're just waiting to see what plays out with the guys getting waived too. The reason the Knicks don't need to make a decision right away is because the other teams in the NBA right now are waiving a lot of players, and I think we just want to see what else is up. But yeah, I won't be surprised if Mook gets that spot. I won't be surprised if Keita Bates Diop if he's eligible. I won't be surprised if another player, Lonnie Walker, gets that spot. Right, I think he's the best like-for-like swap right now. Spent most of preseason and training camp with Boston. What a savvy move it would be from the New York Knicks, man, to get him into our locker room after just having been into Boston's locker room, man, for preseason. Let us know your thoughts on that. Guys, we've got 300 in the chat right now, buzzing. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got more content and guests coming through the pipe as well. This season is going to be crazy. It's going to be buzzing as well. All our chips are in the middle of the table. We're going all in, baby. With this one, we're not holding back. No holds barred. D Nice says, go get Lonnie Walker. He's out there. Go get him. Right. We could sign him for nothing, basically, right now. Is that the reason why the Knicks are freeing up a couple of these spots? I hope so. I hope so. Buzzer Beater says, for the starting five, you're feeling a 7. That's pretty rational. That's pretty rational, man. I would probably go 7 as well, fam. I feel like, obviously, 10 is the ceiling. And guys, I'm asking you to rate the starting five, how you're feeling right now after what you've seen. What is your level of concern at? 7 is pretty solid. I would go 6.5, 7. I feel like something needs to switch it up a little bit. Whether that's a guy finding his jump shot, whether that's one player get moved out. But man, I like what I've seen from OG Anunoby. I think for those that criticized the move, those that criticized the salary, if you don't already know, you know by now, the value of this man, right? He makes up for a lot of deficiencies in this club, man, on this starting unit. Just OG Anunoby, man. He got 5 stocks last night, which is steals, blocks combined. He makes up for a lot of deficiencies with Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns defensively. Right now, he's shooting the rock with confidence. All of his ambitions are playing out into fruition now. After leaving Toronto, he said, I wanted a bigger role. Toronto didn't allow me, to play my best game. And, he was a little concerned about Julius Randle, how his role was going to play out offensively. But now we're seeing the real OG offensively. We're seeing what OG Anunoby is capable of doing offensively and defensively too. What's up, Tim? We've got Tim in the building. Let's get it, fam. Great to see you. Appreciate you. And how you doing? I'm excited for this season, guys. Excited to be rocking out with you all. And I can't wait for Tuesday night, man. Like I said, preseason, we might not even speak on it ever again and what we've seen. If opening night starts hot, right, and guys get into their rhythm early, right? One of the reasons I don't like preseason is because the players, although they never admit this, they're never going 100%. Players just know that the game is meaningless, and they're never going to get out of fourth gear. But opening night when you're playing Boston, it's a different story. B. Willis says defense starts from the 1 and the 2. Free McBride. Hart does look lost out there. Yeah, I mean, he said it, and there's nothing wrong with being honest. I like Josh Hart. I like his quotes. I like his honesty. He's a dog. He gets it, right? Some people may not like him coming out and saying stuff like that, but it don't mean that he's worried long term. He's just speaking the truth right now. We can all see it. He's lost right now, and it's only been 4 games. That's the key thing to highlight. The fact is, you're not going to, understand the full potential after 4 games, right? He's playing with brand new players, and so I think he'll find his spot. But it's up to Jalen Brunson, the extension of the coach on the court. He is the head of the snake, in my opinion, and it's always up to the head of the snake to find guys, get guys going, get guys out of their funk, right? Even if he has to put himself back, even if he has to put himself on the, on the back burner, just to get other guys going. That is the role of a point guard. And so I'm looking at JB, and I'm saying, all right, we know you can get your bucket, but let's get the ball flowing. Let's get the ball moving a bit quicker. Let's get the ball, other guys in sync. I think the more you touch the basketball, the more you start to feel in rhythm. And I think the ball has energy, you know. When the ball's flowing, other guys start to feel giddy, you know. Buzzer says our rim protection was non-existent. That's why I want Cat moved back to the 4 and we bring in a starting 5. We'll see how much patience Tibbs has before he pulls the plug on that, and switches things up. But I feel like, yeah, like B. Willis said, perimeter defense, that's the start and the catalyst. I think guys are starting to figure out when to switch and when to fight over the screens. So that is something to work on. One thing I really like about Deuce McBride, fam, and just to confirm, you can vote your player standout of preseason. Just hashtag the player initials or a QR code, and you can vote single button. But my player standout for preseason, man, is no other than Deuce Miles McBride, man. No other player in their role, I think, shone brighter than Deuce McBride. I feel the world of confidence in him, and I feel like he's, he's such a valuable piece for us right now. The reason why people didn't want him included in the Walker Kessler trade and so forth. But for Deuce, I think the strength lies in his, tenacity to fight over screens. Right. One of the reasons why our perimeter defense is astute when Deuce is out there is because he fights over screens and he's excellent at kind of getting around screens and navigating. And so is OG Anunoby. I think he's excellent at that. And then the other guy is, Precious, coach. He's a Swiss Army knife. I think Precious is a guy that could be the 4, the 5. I think his versatility is shown to be, really, really important, fam, as well. So you could hashtag PA if you would like to vote for Precious Achiuwa as a standout player, right? He's got quite a few votes coming through. But yeah, Precious looks good. He was a steal, to be honest, in the OG Anunoby trade. I think if we didn't get Precious in that trade, it'd be tough. What's up, D? Cool, salute. So yeah, starting 5, I'm feeling about a 7. I'm feeling about a 7 right now. A couple games, things click. You go back up to an 8 real quick. But right now, I really want to see Karl-Anthony Towns in meaningful games. Again, preseason, he shot the ball bad, but he did some other nice things, attacking the rack. I thought he crashed the glass quite solid. I liked his post-up game, and I liked his passing. Passing game was really solid as well. So yeah, I thought the ball movement in the first 2 games was really solid. But you look at it again. We played Washington and we played Charlotte, and then the Minnesota game, it was kind of garbage time as well involved in that one. Yeah, so it's hard to take a full read into it. Rich M says Hart in the starting 5 is the move, as his rebounding is important, necessary. Cam, Deuce, Sims, Precious off the bench. Tibbs plays 9. Everyone else won't play unless an injury. So yeah, Cam, Deuce, Sims, and Precious. But I agree with you. But opening night, if Precious can't go, I feel like Dadiet could be the next guy to get in, fam. And I don't know about Sims just yet. I'm not prepared to pencil in Tibbs trusting Sims right away. And even if he does, he might pull him real quick. He's shown it before, and I think he'll do it again, right? Just for example, let's say the game, Sims has come in, we're down 8, we go on a little bit of a bad stretch, 5-0 run, Boston push out the lead to 13. He's going to pull Sims out of the game right away. He's going to bring the starters back. So I feel like Sims is just that guy that's going to play anywhere between literally 3 minutes to 13 minutes, just depending on how it's going. But yeah, he's going to be kind of Mr. Quick Hook, I feel. And yeah, it might be the same thing for Dadiet, for Kolek as well. The guys that he's going to give a longer leash to is definitely Deuce, Campaign, and Precious. Like you said, I think those guys are a solid 6 to 8 men that they're going to be the core of our bench, for the entire season. And I think they've shown that they've been 3 standout players of the preseason, really. If I'm ranking my top 5, Deuce, Precious, and Payne are in that top 5 for preseason standouts. And then obviously Brunson makes it an OG Anunoby. But in terms of preseason standouts, I would put Deuce, Campaign, and Precious ahead of Hart, Bridges, and Cat, and just in terms of how they've stood out. Yeah, let's get Cat's assists up, coach. Ball movement's key. I'd like to see a bit of high-low action with Cat and Brunson. Get Cat down low because he can post up. He can kind of do the Isaiah things, passing out of the low block, in the post. Also, the pick and roll. That's our weapon. I think we need to go to that a lot more. Keith says Mikal have to fix his shot before Tuesday. I don't know if we're going to see wholesale changes to it, man, but I feel like he's just going to be in that gym, man, every single day. Right now, he's probably in the gym, hopefully shooting 1,000 shots between now and Tuesday. And yeah, hopefully it just doesn't get into his head, because that's when things can just spiral, man. A shooter is, the key to knowing a really good shooter is, they bounce back real quick, 0 of 10 one night, and then, and then they're shooting 6 of 8 the next night. Shooters need to have a short memory. They need to just forget about it, and just get to what they do at, get into a rhythm. But yeah, that's why I said about Brunson. I'm looking at him to get the other guys into a rhythm. Try not to hold on to the ball too long, right? We know we can get his bucket, but it's imperative that the other guys get going for this offense to click. Otherwise, it's just going to be 2 guys playing well and the other 3 guys playing not well. Yeah, we need to get everybody clicking right now. But yeah, man, it's a tough blow. We've suffered a couple injuries already. LANDRY Shameet, Precious Achiuwa now. We wait to see how long he is going to be out for, right? But go get Lonnie Walker. That's the play for me. I would have even preferred the Knicks to keep TJ Warren. But I understand what they're doing. They're trying to save a little bit of money. We'll wait to see what happens right now as well. We'll continue streaming, getting your questions in and buzz. And I'm going to refresh the latest news to see what else is up. There's a lot of NBA clubs are waiving their players right now. We've got a little update. Chris Persianen says sources closest to the situation tell me that the New York Knicks expect LANDRY Shameet to recover from his dislocated shoulder before January 2025, his original contract guarantee date. Right, so that's significant. Let's bring this baby up right now, guys. We have some breaking news. A report, sources from Chris Persianen are saying optimism is that LANDRY Shameet can recover from the dislocated shoulder before January. So that's solid, man. That's not the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, we get through a couple of months of the season. Maybe we make a move if we need early in the season, and then we bring Shameet back. What are your thoughts on that, guys? What are your thoughts on the potential for LANDRY Shameet to be back before the new year? Right. I think that's solid. If he avoids surgery, I think that was always the play. It appears to be less serious than Julius Randle's shoulder, but also we know that things can change quickly. Yeah, Tim, Payne's a dog. He's going to have a good season and get into it. I like his combination with Kolek. I like his combination with Deuce as well. I like Payne's shooting too, man. I mean, you just know he's that player that when, he's playing against you, like he did for Philly, you feel a little bit of anxiety when he's out there, running around. He's live, he's quick, he's twitchy. Yeah, he's exactly what we need, I think, out of the seventh guy or the eighth guy, with Precious being the seventh guy. Um, Good pickup. I mean, excellent pickup. I'm glad we picked him up. Uh, Tay Mac, what's up? Says hopefully we sign Lonnie Walker. 100% agree with you, man. So let's bring this up as well. This basically highlights the story, I think the biggest story of the day in terms of the significance of this. Right. So Keith Smith does a good job with the NBA cap with Spotrac. Right. Look at all these teams in the NBA. These are the teams with open roster spots. Right. But look at our New York Knicks. Right. One of the most valuable franchises in the league. One of the biggest sporting franchises in the world. And we're the team with the most open roster spots, trying to save some money due to these new financial restrictions of the hard cap. Right. Due to bringing Mikal Bridges in, Karl Anthony Towns, pulling off all these moves, the New York Knicks are in a tough financial situation, man. And I think this should not get lost in where we're at, man. We can't even sign 2 veterans, let alone 3. I mean, ideal world, like I said, you trade a contract like Mitch just because it gives you more flexibility and you can add 15 players to your roster, Ideal world, we could add Lonnie Walker, Marcus Morris, and another big, and that's with Mitch still on the roster, right? If we were able to find some salary cap relief some way, somewhere, other way or another, right? Ideal world, we could fill 15 roster spots, but right now we can't because of the cap situation. So look out for a trade. I think a trade is going to happen. I think look out for December, look out for January. I think this won't be the roster that finishes the season out. Right. Leon Rose has always made a trade every single season that he's been here. It was Derrick Rose, it was Alec Burks, it was Cam Reddish, it was the Josh Hart one, and it was the OG Anunoby one as well. Every single season right now. So yeah, this is significant, guys, We're the only team in the NBA with the most roster spot available, which to me is just, I kind of look at it and just shake my head, I mean, Cat, Bridges, all these guys, they got a lot of pressure on them, I think, to live up to the billing now. Yes, Flizzy, Kevin Knox, man, is available too. Kevin Knox Hive, stand up as well. I mean, what a world we live in where Kevin Knox and Killian Hayes are both out there, man. Who would have thought? 2 high lottery draft picks, man, that are out there. Yeah, I saw that D-Cool. So Landry Shamet put out a tweet out. He's already on an exercise bike working out. So yeah, good looks, fam. So yeah, sources close to the situation tell Chris that Landry Shamet could be back before the new year. So it makes sense, right? Hopefully we get him back soon. Ryan, what's up? Salute. David says, I like what I'm seeing for Precious. He looks like he's worked on his offense and is becoming a two-way force. Yeah, man, I really like what I'm seeing. And I even I foreshadowed that before all the games started. I said, I think Precious has more to show. He's still young. The kid's 25, and I think I think Precious Achiuwa feels comfortable in the situation. He loves being in New York with family from the area. He loves playing for the New York Knicks. He waited free agency out, right? That speaks a lot to the fact that he wanted to come back. He was prepared to wait it out and took the $6 million. See, I look at a guy like Precious Achiuwa, and I see a guy that's hungry. I see a guy that's hungry to earn a guaranteed future right now. It's tough for these guys playing on 1-year deals, every single year. These guys want stability, and so Precious is hungry, man. I think he's coming to let people know he wants a guaranteed, long-term contract right now. He's way outplayed Precious. He's way outplayed Jericho. I mean, Jericho Sims. And look, yeah, he's great insurance for Mitch being out. A couple of good shooting flashes as well, like Kaiser Soze says. He gives us a bit more sample size. So yeah, low key Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox got cut because Golden State are in a tough financial situation too, and also the reason why Boston had to cut Lonnie Walker, fam, is because they're screwed financially as well. So apparently Boston, every day that Lonnie Walker was on their roster, was incurring a $15,000 charge just by having him on the roster every single day in extra tax bill. And so, yeah, a lot of these teams are cutting good players, man. So the Knicks are flexible. Let's see what they do. Hopefully, we do something really nice. We've got teams trying to trade pieces now. The Bucks are a little bit desperate, I feel. They're trying to flesh out some depth, and they're trading. They're going to trade Marjon Beauchamp, according to reports. Right, he's a promising young player, I think, with two-way potential, but I think he's regressed a little bit in Minnesota, in Milwaukee. Right, we talked about some notable free agents, man. Why is Markel Fultz still out there? Even Dennis Smith Jr. had a promising past couple of seasons. Got Nas Little, I think Robert Covington and Jay Crowder. Maybe the sun is starting to set on their NBA career. I think they probably need to look at China or overseas, Australia, Europe. Who else we got? I mean, Bismack Biyombo still seems to be out there. We could have signed him from day one, but we still have not. And so I think that bodes well for Huck Porty, Sims, Hive. And I feel like Precious is holding us down. And maybe we're optimistic that Mitch is getting back soon as well. So no Bismack Biyombo for us right now. We waived Moses Brown as well, guys. Kenny Lofton was another guy that was waived. Yes, appreciate that. Above the rim, what's up? Let's get it. Glenn Jones is confident, though. We needed a big man still. I think there's still some question marks. So, yeah, I hear your point, man. I think Mitch getting healthy would answer a lot of the questions. Huck Porty, we need to see him in real minutes. I'm not sold on Sims. Cat can be iffy at the 5. I think we need to see more as well. But let's relive some positivity as well. Cat and Brunson, man, the core of our offense, had some flashes in preseason. So let's roll the tape on the best of Cat and Brunson so far of preseason, right? There were some good moments, of course, which is what you want to see. Cat there with the good help D. Tay Max says the league is full of talent. Yeah, I think expansion might come soon, man. Let's get Vegas. Let's get Seattle back. Let's get Seattle. Let's get Vegas. Let's move a franchise somewhere. I don't know if Memphis are going to be there long term. It's going to be tough for them. I think we already found out that Philly's not going to move to Jersey. I think they've got the stadium situation kind of fixing up. So we'll see what happens with that. Justin Holiday out there as well. O'Shea Brissett, Kenneth Lofton. I mean, we could hit on a couple of these prospects. And we are trying to find cheap talent as well. Kaminsky too, fam. As Yabu says as well. Or Yobao. Salute. So, man, what I want to say about Westchester. If I lived near the area, man, I'll be at every single Westchester game because it's going to be legit viewing this season. You might get to see the best Westchester Knicks squad ever assembled, man. You'll see Moses Brown. I think you'll see TJ Warren. You might even see Skapinsev because he got waived. Don't forget our guy Scappy. You might see Pacome Dadiet on some nights, Tyler Kolek. You might see McCullar, and you might see Ariel Huckporty. Man, you might see Damien. You will see Damien Ball from Summer League as well. I mean, that's a stacked squad, right? For the price of admission, that's worth it to go out to Westchester, man, and see some of these guys. It's basically what the small club was intended for, man. It was a baby Knicks squad. Titan says we're winning the chip in Westchester, man. You might be right. That might be the first chip we win with Westchester, man. But I actually like the way we're using it because if TJ Warren, which reports are coming out now that he's going to play in Westchester and stay close to the club, so that if he gets right or we need him, we can just bring him up. Moses Brown, the same. That's what the small club should be used for, man. Kind of like they do in hockey, like they do in soccer and things like that, and baseball. Right. You should be using that league, right, to get a good look at proper guys, not just junk guys that you're gonna not gonna look at, So yeah, out of the concerns out of preseason, man, the shooting was at the top for me. Defense, shooting can obviously come around with rhythm. The defense, they're gonna have to iron some things out with the front line. Yeah, hopefully no more retreads of old players too. Kaiser Soze says above the rim. Yeah, Huckporty has made the squad. He's safe. He's not going anywhere. However, he's not on a full roster guarantee. He's on a two-way contract, which he'll be eligible for a couple of seasons. I think you can have up to 4 seasons on a two-way, 3 or 4 seasons on a two-way, right? But the restriction is you can only play 45 days, I think, on the two-way contract. And so, yeah, we're going to have to manage those minutes. But I feel like Huckporty will probably get converted to a proper roster deal at some point right now. But we've got some positivity because it looks like Landry Shamet, although he was cut, it does look like that he might be back in action before 2025, before the new year. And I think that he can hopefully get back to the squad, man. Maybe we've made other plans by then. We'll wait and see, right? But opening night, man, hits. And it's going to wait for no one right now. We need to get right. We need to start clicking. And, man, what an upset it's going to be if we can beat Boston on opening night. Of course, I give us a puncher's chance, right? It's not going to be easy. I feel like what we did last time we won in Boston. You just got to stay in the ball game. You got to weather the storm early. Play physical, get after it. They might not like that. They don't have Kristaps. They're going to be playing with Al Horford. They're going to be playing with Luke Cornett and all of those guys. So I feel like it's an opportunity for the Knicks to be physical. Test them early, get after it. Share the rock around. Hopefully guys start to, hit some shots. But I'm looking for a big game from Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby. Right, I'll be looking for them to carry their form over. Remember, the plus-minus king, OG Anunoby, 25-6 with him in the lineup, right? Didn't get the opportunity last postseason to show Boston just exactly what he could do against their wings. So I'm looking at 2 things for the opening night, man. My 2 things to watch, well, 3 things actually, is the rotation, of course. Who gets that 8th, 9th spot, right? If Precious can't go, who's the 8th man? Who's the 9th man? I think Precious is probably, Sims is probably the 8th man if Precious can't go. And then the 9th man is literally up for grabs in regards to Kolek, Dadiet, Huckporty. So that's my prediction for opening night rotation. The second thing I'm looking for, man, is for our leaders to step up. Jalen Brunson and the returning face of OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, right? Cat and Bridges, they're new faces, right? We need the returning faces to show up. And like I said, OG Anunoby has a point to prove, you know. He didn't get to play against Hart and Tatum and Brown last postseason as well. So I'll be hoping to see him make a statement when it comes to the Boston game, right? And then the new faces, Cat, Bridges, hopefully at least one of them can step up, right, and really show why we moved for these players on opening night, man. It's going to be a big stage. Don't forget, this is the NBA opener, not just the Knicks season, right? Returning champions, the Boston Celtics, for the ring ceremony in front of a raucous crowd as well. The spotlight is not going to be any brighter than what it is on opening night for the New York Knicks, man. There's going to be a lot of national media, hot takes, narratives, all of those things, man. The New York Knicks can make a statement going into Beantown, man. And I feel like Tibbs will have a real opportunity to use this last game as fuel to fire these guys up, you know. He's probably rip them a new one, show them some film. You know, these guys are probably in the gym shooting shots now every single day, from today all the way till shoot around on Tuesday morning, I think, to get ready, right? But I kind of want to look at it like a silver lining, because if we went undefeated in preseason, it would have kind of marred what was, you know, not a very great preseason. And so I think losing one, you know, it's always better if the game doesn't matter. You know, the game doesn't count. So we lost against Washington, you know, by 1 point. I mean, the game has an asterisk on it because of the, you know, the garbage time late, right? And so, yeah, you know, I think it's better to be going into that opening night with a chip on our shoulder. I think to prove, you know, that the doubters wrong on that one, as our guys, man, get tuned up for it. We've got Westchester coming in heavy this season, like I said. Yep. We've got Big in the chat. Paula says it could mask certain things. Yeah, definitely, you know. I think we all know that we didn't play great. We didn't play well. The starting five, you know, isn't as cohesive as we hoped. You know, however, you know, a 5-0 record would have made things look like everything was perfect, but it wasn't. I think so. Yeah, losing the final game is for some people it might be what you want, right? Who cares? Losing to Washington, but right now at least the players are going to start to feel that kind of pressure now. That like, hey, this is the real deal. No more excuses. You know, literally the wins are up for grabs now. You know, starting on Tuesday. So we've got a few people in the chat come in now. Luce and Jean-Marc, salute guys. We'll keep streaming for a bit longer. Going to start to lose my voice soon, so we'll kick it for a bit more. But the latest news is that Landry Shamet has been waived. I think the Knicks will be looking to save just a little bit of money just by keeping the roster spot open. They've also waived Chuma Akiki, and they've waived TJ Warren. TJ Warren has agreed to go to Westchester for now. I think, you know, there's a chance that he comes back, I think, in the future. But there's also a big chance that Landry Shamet will be back when it comes to January, is a report coming out now. So there's a chance that the Knicks will be open to bringing Landry Shamet back when he's healthier, hopefully by January. So that is the latest. And also the New York Knicks are at 12 roster spots. They can stay that way for 2 weeks maximum. So we have to make a decision in at least 2 weeks by adding somebody. My bet is that it's, you know, Ariel Hukporti, as has been widely reported. And then the other guy is a veteran. I think that's not a surprise to anybody, right? We are going to add one more veteran at least. Financially, we can afford that. And then the other guy that we can afford next to a veteran is a rookie contract on a 2-way that's converted. So I'm looking at Ariel Huckporty because he's played. I mean, we have the biggest need. McCullar hasn't played yet, and also Jake Toppin hasn't played much in preseason as well. So Lonnie Walker is out there. He's available. The Knicks can sign him. So he's available right now. We'll wait to see what happens with him, man. I think his agent will be talking to a lot of teams. I mean, yeah, if you're Lonnie Walker and you're his agent, you're getting a lot of calls from NBA teams right now. So even if the Knicks had interest, all they can offer is the minimum salary, right? As long with a lot of other teams. So I feel like we might not find out anything tonight yet about Lonnie Walker, because he's going to have a lot of interest. We'll see. So we've got situations where, yeah, Hart could be coming off the bench soon. We don't know. I don't know if Tibbs is ready to pull the plug on that yet. We know Tibbs is a staunch supporter of Josh Hart. And look, I'm a proponent of some of the things Tibbs does, and one of those things are that he lets players figure it out. Right? He doesn't micromanage units like Rick Carlisle or Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr. Yes, he calls timeouts pretty quick, so that he can chew their ear out. He likes to call quick timeouts. But what Tibbs usually does is he lets the players on the court figure it out, Sometimes he goes too long before calling a timeout to let players figure it out. So what I think Tibbs is going to do is at least going to give 5 games for this new starting unit to figure it out. I don't think that he's prepared to put Deuce in right away, although it'd be something that I would look at, to get Hart to the bench. But I think at least he's going to give it a shot on opening night, at the very least, and then go from there. But what he needs to do is, have a word to the captain, have a word to Jalen Brunson and say, hey, man, good looks for preseason, 27 points last night, looks great, can find his shot, can get whatever he wants. We know that. But for Jalen Brunson, as the leader of the club, it's important that he helps other guys eat. 5 assists last night, but he's got 2 fellow starters, 2 fellow Villanova brothers that are starving right now. Right? They're starving, and they need a leg up. Right? So if you're a leader of a club, what do you need to do? You need to get those other guys going, man. You need to get your brothers going right now. You got Josh Hart coming out saying he's lost, and that can't feel good as the leader of the club, because I know Brunson holds himself to a high standard, right? He said it himself, Whilst he's not directly responsible for Hart struggles and Bridges struggles, he could be part of the solution. And so I feel like Brunson, needs to get those guys going, find a way, right? You're the extension of the coach on the court, right? Tell them what you need. Tell them to cut. Set some plays up. Pacome Dadiet just seems to have a great feel for the game. He knows when to cut. When Brunson gets to a certain spot. Pacome Dadiet was cutting really well, and seems to be gelling and playing well off, the starting unit as well as the bench guys. So yeah, I feel like it's all feel for the game with these guys. I guess Hart's just used to playing with a guy like Mitch and Julius, where he's spaced out in the corner, just standing there with Julius and Mitch out there. I feel like Hart feels lost because the various looks that we have now, the different possibilities, but he's just not a shooter. He has to find a way to get cutting. He has to find a way to impact the game, crash the glass, push the break. I mean, get Brunson off the ball even. Get Hart running the ball up the court. Maybe just to get him in rhythm, pushing the break a bit. I think running some secondary action. So we've got a super chat come in. We'll address that right now. But guys buzzing with us right now, 300 in the chat. Please smash that like button. Help the platform get out there more to Knicks fans as well. And the chat will continue buzzing, man, all season. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Great to have you with us. Appreciate Buzzer Beater for this question and the super chat. Buzzer says the chat keeps mentioning Kaminsky. Why is that? I think Kaminsky is a guy that can, well, you look at his career numbers, he's got a 38% stroke, I think, from deep. Um, I think he's a guy you could play in different lineups. He could be small ball five, he could be four as well. And I just think he's a name. Um, I think people do love to, to throw names out there. I do think though that there is some legs to it. I think Kaminsky is experienced. He played well overseas, by the way. I think he's done a full circle. He's been around the block, so to speak. And I think Kaminsky is a guy that could help a team, but I question his fit. I don't feel like Kaminsky is the right play for us right now. Who's he going to get minutes from? I feel like Precious is playing well. Huckporty's playing well. You want to ride those hot hands. Mitch is coming back soon, by all reports, and so I feel like we need some extra wing depth off the bench, man. Some extra shooting, right? But again, Pacome Dadiet is that real wild card for me. As we talk about last night a bit more, I said before preseason even began, man, excuse me, I said Mikal Bridges was my X factor. I said, right, and that's hold up to be true. Mikal Bridges is the X factor of this club, but a wild card right now is Pacome Dadiet, right? He's the real wild card for me, right? He's the great unknown because we kind of know what Tyler Kolek is, and he looks good, and he's going to get minutes this season. He's going to run some offense. We kind of know what Huckporty can do, as a good rim runner, can rebound, play solid backup minutes. What Pacome Dadiet is, it can vary. It could be like we could have a real major rotation player on our hands this season and for the future. Or it could be, yeah, he's not quite ready yet. He's going to play spot minutes. He's going to be in Westchester for most of the season. That's a pretty big gap for Pacome Dadiet in terms of either end of the spectrum, right? So if in my opinion, Pacome Dadiet is the wild card right now. I mean, a lot of Knicks Nation's kind of buzzing right now, kind of going crazy that he might be that there's a possibility even that he could be in the lineup on opening night. Yes, there's going to be injuries, so I get that. No Landry Shamet and no Precious Achiuwa most likely. Obviously, that opens the door up for guys, but I mean, it just gives me another chance to praise the Knicks front office and the Knicks draft scouts because a lot of people were sus on some decisions made, and I was like, just let them cook. Let these scouts who watch these players for a living, let them make official decisions on these players. When I talk about that, I mean Pacome Dadiet was given a proper guaranteed contract. Not only that, people thought that he was going to be a stash. People questioned, what are the Knicks doing? Even early after Summer League, people were like, why did Kolek, go second round? And why did we, burn the first round selection on Dadiet? Well, now you're starting to see, what the Knicks were thinking, and what the Knicks were seeing in a Pacome Dadiet. Yes, and I'm not going over the top, right? I know there's going to be those rookie follies, and there's going to be some, some general struggles. But I mean, I don't think there was many people that pegged a 19-year-old kid that just turned 19 that was, expected to be a stash, to be arguably a rotation player from day one. So I think that's a huge, advancement. That's a huge, situation that's changed right now. And I think it could be for the better, right? I mean, he's hitting his shots, right? So like Diamond says in the chat, Pacome needs playing time. He's doing great. We need him to play more. I think this happened for a reason. Tibbs probably wouldn't play him unless it was garbage time. Yeah, man, I think his feel for the game's strong. I think Tibbs, looks at that. He also looks at his options. It's like, hey, if you ain't got a better option, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to dust off Jake Toppin? Are you supposed to, click your fingers and make Kevin McCullar healthy. You know, I maybe he could have played TJ Warren. I guess that's a bit of a head scratcher. You know, maybe, you know, the fact that Pacome Dadiet is just a draft pick for the future, you know, gives him that first chance. But yeah, man, last night was eye-opening, and you know, I'm glad for the kid that he took that chance, which is great. You know, that's just 3 rookies that have taken their chance, not just one. Colex, you know, had a good summer league and a pretty solid preseason now, so that's checked the boxes. Ariel Hukporti, if you didn't already know about him, now you know. I think he's a factor this season. And now Pacome Dadiet is definitely a factor in this season. You know, I think they don't teach size. I was also talking about his frame. His length is important in the NBA. I mean, you know, we were playing very small. Even Dante was a 6'4" wing. Landry Shamet, 6'4". You know, Cameron Payne and Deuce McBride, they're undersized. So you chuck a Pacome Dadiet out there who's 6'8", 6'9", with length. I think there's advantages to that. Bronx Root says Pac Daddy are going to be the perfect Jay Hart replacement after Hart's contract ends, or he's traded at some point. Yeah, man, I'm encouraged by what I've seen, and I think obviously, you know, you want to see a longer sample, but the shooting looks really smooth, man, and the cutting looks great. The defense, I think we all know that yeah, he needs to work on that a bit more. And Diamond says, I knew he was rotation day 1. Okay, man, shout out. What's up, Pedro? Says Tibbs. What's on your mind about Tibbs with that? Buzzer says, Michael Drake making a great point. Do you trust Leon Rose? Yeah, most def. I trust Leon Rose, man. I trust what we're doing. Yeah, I mean, what we did was a move that was unexpected, right? I thought we were going to run it into the season with Julius and that, but I understand there were so many different factors. There was contracts of Julius that had to be considered. There was losing Isaiah Hartenstein and having to fill the center spot. There was all of those considerations. There was the fact that they held out from including Dante from all of those discussions early with Minnesota, right? So they did not want to include Dante. But what ultimately had to happen is we just took a different path, you know. Nobody can say whether we're better yet or we're worse. We just took a different path. It's like basically the path that we were going down got sealed off and we just had to find a new route, you know. Your GPS spazzed out over to the next route, you know, and we're on to the same destination. We're just taking a different route right now. And I feel like it's going to be fruitful. We've got to play a different way. We've got to, you know, integrate new pieces. But yeah, this thing just looks different. And you know, Leon Rose has made some shrewd moves. I think Brock Aller deserves a ton of credit as well. Even Tibbs gave the man a lot of credit. You know, with that said, you know, and the fine maneuvering. And yes, we're in a tough situation financially, but I feel like, you know, we've made up for that with some clever pickups. You know, getting Precious in the OG deal, I think doesn't get spoken of enough. I think, you know, getting your Cameron Paynes and your Landry Shamets as veteran minimums, I think has proven to be really good. I think arguably one of the best moves that the Knicks have ever done has give Deuce McBride that 4-year contract, well below his value right now, right before trading Emmanuel Quickley. I mean, that move doesn't get spoken of enough, fam, right? Right before we traded Emmanuel Quickley, and we had a decision to make, right? And Emmanuel Quickley's name is all over the NBA right now because his $30+ million salary is actually being held as the benchmark for other like talent trying to get paid Emmanuel Quickley, right? But meanwhile, we're paying Deuce Miles McBride $4 million to basically play the same, play better. I mean, I don't know if there's much of a gap. I don't watch Quickley anymore, I must admit. I don't watch the Toronto Raptors. I don't have any reason to watch them. outside of when they play the New York Knicks. What I do feel pretty confident about is he ain't playing much better than Deuce McBride, if at all, right now. And there's like a $25 million gap between their salary. You could arguably make the case as well that Deuce Miles McBride has the same ceiling, or maybe even a higher ceiling, than Emmanuel Quickley. And even if Quickley's playing slightly better, is it to the value of $25 million? Also, Quickley's going to be coming up for an extension, I think, eventually, pretty soon. Deuce Miles McBride has got 3 more years on his contract as well. So, I mean, yeah, shout out to Leon Rose and all of that, man. I think that was one of the reasons why I trust this front office. The drafting as well is the reason why I trust them as well. Doing all those maneuverings, getting Kolek into the second round, getting Dadiet to take 80% of the money so that they could fit this all thing together. Also, they got the 58th pick just so that they could snatch Ariel Hakporti from going undrafted, so that they could give that kid a proper contract as well, man. So the question about all those picks for Mikal Bridges, like Giles says, 5 first-round picks for Bridges and OGs, Max destroyed us. So that is a take going around. People feel that way. I don't feel that way right now. I feel like you have to wait and see. Yes, we overpaid a bit to get Mikal Bridges. I think the Brooklyn situation, but I think those draft picks, they're going to be in the they're going to be in the late 20s. So I feel like people look at those picks, in different ways, but they're not as valuable as some people think. One of them was even the heavily protected pick as well. But if Bridges starts playing well and starts to click, the Knicks win a championship, will anybody be saying that we overpaid? I think ultimately you have to judge on the results, right? Not right now. But yes, it did look like we overpaid for Bridges. As for the OG thing, I spoke about that earlier, man. I think his record speaks for itself. Hopefully he can stay healthy, no doubt about that. But he's 25-6, I think, as a New York Knick. That's a higher win percentage than Boston's last season. So I think if you get a healthy OG Anunoby, I feel like you don't really need to argue his value. Like he contributes to winning basketball. And if you got to pay a handsome amount for that, you got to pay. The NBA rewards winners. If you help your team win, you should be worth $40 million. There's too many guys earning $40 million that don't help their team win. Talking about Jeremy Grant, other guys as well. In other teams, losing teams, things like that. Guys that can't stay healthy. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, still questions over his value. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler can't even help Miami win in the regular season or the postseason right now, I think. So there's questions over him too. But yeah, man, it's all going to be tied to OG's health. I think that's the biggest thing with that one, Giles. But yeah, I hear your point about, the Knicks making questionable moves. I think, ultimately, man, we will be talking about it. If the Knicks don't get this thing done, if we don't break that drought, Leon Rose, this is his legacy. He decided this. He went all in. One thing's for sure is it's not just Leon Rose in this front office, in this club, that's struggling with the new NBA rules. I think we're doing our best to navigate around what the NBA is doing. They're trying to close off all these loopholes, but it's teams like Milwaukee, Minnesota, the Golden State Warriors. All these clubs are struggling with the NBA more than we are in terms of, being screwed, having to give up pieces, paying high tax bill, all of those things. Boston had to let Lonnie Walker go, and I know that they wanted to keep that kid as well. So I think, how long is it going to be before Boston breaks things up, kind of breaks up their core? They could probably still get a good piece for Drew Holiday or for Derek White. I think to expand their window at some point if they don't get it done this season back to back. I think that's going to be something to watch out for as well. How could I forget the Denver Nuggets too? There's a big chance that the Denver Nuggets fam, I think, will take a step back right now. As let's wrap up with our NBA stock report, man. Heading into the season, give me your takes on this, fam. Right now, let's do an NBA stock watch. Right, this isn't necessarily power rankings. This is kind of where I want to rank, the vibes between these teams heading into the regular season now, around the corner. Right. I was on with John Schmelk last show, right? I had the Denver Nuggets down here as a hold because I don't think their stock is up, right? And if anything, I would move them down maybe to a sell. I think financial restrictions are catching up to them. I think Jamal Murray's getting older. They can't come to an extension agreement with Aaron Gordon. They're kind of at loggerheads. So, I'm not high on the Denver Nuggets long-term future, man. I think it's this season or it's look to the next, retool around the Joker. But at the top, Boston, yeah, absolutely. OKC, although, Hartenstein, we haven't spoken on that enough, man. Has Tibbs, or the way that Hart played so hard for us, does that mean his body is going to start to break down now? I think that's a legitimate question. Isaiah is going to be out for 6 weeks now, 5 to 6 weeks, right? I wish nothing but the best for the kid. I wish nothing but health, man. I'm not salty. Like, I know some people are, are frustrated that he left. Yeah, you could argue that was the first major domino that changed everything for the New York Knicks. But I feel like Oklahoma is still a great team with or without him. Obviously, the New York Knicks, I mean, bad preseason overall, or average preseason, right? It's up for debate. What do you guys think? Is our stock hot? Or do we deserve to move down to the next tier? Let me know your thoughts right now. Bob says Knicks are winning 57 games. Salute to that. Let's go 60, hopefully. Michael Drake says, Heart, it was his hand. He ain't breaking down. Right. I hope not. I hope not, man. I'm not saying it is. I was just sort of speculating that, once a player plays super hard like that, in the second part of their career, they do start to pick up more injuries as well. Let's face it, it was an overpay from Heart, so we may have dodged a bullet. Right. There's a world where we dodged a bullet. I feel like paying Isaiah 20 plus million. Right. Huck Porty looks pretty solid as a cheap option. Cat stretch 5. We'll see if we can make another smaller move. Diamond God says we win 63 games this season too. It's the East. Nick's Kingdom says Mikal was brought in for OG's backup. Shouldn't play them both together. Then you kind of got to look at it like we gave up so much to get Mikal Bridges, so it's tough to give up that for a backup as well. But yeah, I think we could definitely mix and match lineups better. We'll see how that plays out with Tibbs, So look, I've made a decision for me personally. I'm going to keep the Knicks in the top tier, right? There's still those expectations. There's still a high ceiling on this club to win 55 games. Our stock is hot. Our stock is hot right now. So that is my top 4 predictions, fam. And ironically, I think that's going to be your Eastern Conference and your Western Conference finalists for this season, man. I'm calling it right now. Right now. This is my first main prediction. It's going to be a New York Knicks, Boston, Eastern Conference Finals. I think we get a top 3 seed and we navigate our way through a tricky first 2 rounds and we pull it out. And we face Boston in your Eastern Conference Finals. And then I think out west, I think it's Minnesota with their added depth. I think Dante DiVincenzo, man, is still going to be that 6th man of the year favorite as well. As salty as I am, I'm going to put some money on Dante DiVincenzo, man, and trying to win some money on him winning 6th man, right? Although he might play too many minutes with their starting unit once they figure out how good he can be. What are you guys thinking about that? Next up, major news coming out of Philly. Joel Embiid might not play back-to-backs. Paul George, hyperextension knee. Is this just the start of the same story that we're going to hear all season long? That Philadelphia's main 2 cats can't stay healthy? Man, that's why I'm bullish on putting them too high. I'm cautious, right? So I'm keeping Philly there, fam. And in fact, in light of the recent news about health concerns, man, and I've been singing this from the mountaintops, I think it's going to come back to hurt Philly come postseason, man. So I'm dropping Philly down. I'm dropping them down, man, to a hold right now. That doesn't mean I'm selling on them. It don't mean that they can't be good. I'm just holding right now. I need to see them healthy. I need to see more right now. Right? So that leaves the Dallas Mavericks, man. They made some good moves. Quentin Grimes has looked nice in preseason. They got some better depth now. Got some more continuity with their main pieces. So I think Dallas is going to stay there. I think Dallas is on the stock up, fam. They'll probably be Eastern Conference semi-finalists. We'll see if they can get over the hump with that one. Knicks 25 champ says Maxey is the number 1 option in Philly. Definitely, man. And Zara says Philly is food. Appreciate that. Building Block says Dante is going to start for them eventually. I feel like he should, man. I think that's what actually hurt me the most about the Mikal Bridges trade, really. It wasn't really what we gave up. It was the fortunate, situation that we had to move a Dante DiVincenzo to the bench because he's a starting player, in my opinion. Dante DiVincenzo should start for 30 NBA franchises, right? Not 29 for 30. He's that good, man. I'm not even going to lie. Dante DiVincenzo is an NBA starting player, right? He should not be coming off the bench. It's kind of a cheat code, if I'm being honest. And I think Minnesota will figure it out. I think Mike Conley, we even saw a little preview when they played us. They sat Mike Conley out and they started DiVincenzo, to get a look at that. So yeah, I mean, Dante might not even, play enough games to qualify as the 6th man. But yeah, let's get on to the next one about that. Look, Indiana. Look, I'm not buying stock on them, man. I know that we would have beat them if we were healthy, right? If we just had anybody out of Mitch, Bogdanovich, whoever else was injured, Josh Hart's abdomen, Brunson, healthy late in the second half, we might have even beaten Indiana Game 7. So have they made any drastic major moves? No. I'll keep them there. I'll keep Philly at hold right now. Now, a lot of people feel like Orlando are coming. I'm not ready to say that yet. But I feel like they've got to, they're the next in line, I think. They might overtake Indiana and they might overtake Philly. We'll wait and see on that one, man. Cleveland, I'm closer to selling on them than actually moving them up, man. I'm closer to selling than moving them up. Spider Mitchell, man, a lot of that is on his shoulders. I'm not that high on Darius Garland right now. I don't think he's built for that. Evan Mobley, question marks over him as well, fam. What do you think? Diamond God says Philly can be deleted. Yeah, man. Look, I'll be ready to move them down to sell soon. They're one more injury away from that. Marvin said, didn't Philly give Embiid an extension? Yeah, they did, man. They gave him a huge extension as well. So I mean, they had to. That's Daryl Morey's vision now, right? That's their headache, not ours. Now, one thing that's saving Philly, which I will say, is their depth, right? They did pick up a lot of good pieces on the cheap. You know, they're not needle movers, but they are good pieces on the margins. Yabusele, Kayla Martin, Eric Gordon, and they picked up a couple of other guys as well. So I think their end of the bench depth is actually better than ours, but I just don't think their main guys are going to stay healthy. Ryan says Miles Turner and them Legos. Yeah, we would have beaten Indiana, so they've got a lot to prove still for me. Orlando the same. Cleveland, I'll keep them at hold because I still think they can be a top 4 threat. Right, I'm not going to count out Spider. Milwaukee, man, I move Philly down. This is where I actually move Milwaukee down, man. This might be controversial to some, right? I'm not even going to hold on Milwaukee, man. I'm selling. I'm selling right now from Milwaukee, man. Their championship window has closed, right? Bucks fans come at me, but I think Milwaukee's championship window is closed, and my eyes don't tell me any different, man. Right? You already got Giannis, putting more pressure on the franchise, talking about, their quotes about, if we don't win, I know they're going to trade me. I mean, really? Would you want to hear that if you're a fan? Would you want to hear your best player, your franchise MVP, talk like that on the eve of a season? Right? Let me know your thoughts, Bucks fans. Right? How would you feel if we were in the middle of a championship window and Jalen Brunson came out and said, yeah, if we don't win this thing, they're probably trading me? I mean, that's crazy right now. So is the ship sinking? Absolutely, man. I'm selling on Milwaukee. I mean, Chris Middleton can't stay healthy. Damian Lillard is a turnstile. Right. You expect me to believe that they're going to mix it up and win? So yeah, I'm selling on Milwaukee. The Miami Heat, I'm selling on them as well, fam. I'm selling on the Miami Heat. I know it's early, but I'm selling on the Heat as well, right? But the Phoenix Suns, man, for Suns Hive, the Suns are up in stock for me right now. They look legit. Good preseason. Ryan Dunn, man, if there's a blip on Walt Perrin, Leon Rose's radar, Ryan Dunn, man, we may have missed out on a good one with that one, man. He looks like the complete player right now, working on his jump shot. Long Island native. The New York Knicks were high on him. He would have loved to come to the New York Knicks, but man, I can't complain too much. It just wasn't meant to be, right? Maybe in the future, right? We did work out Ryan Dunn. For those of you that don't know, we worked him out several times. There was a lot of conversations had, but we just didn't get Ryan Dunn, man, for whatever reason. Maybe we liked Pacome Dadiet. Maybe we liked him more. Maybe it was the fact that Dadiet was open to taking the 80% discount, the 20% discount, 80% of the salary. Maybe that was a factor. We don't know, man. But the Knicks could have taken Ryan Dunn, and they could have maybe found a way to get Kolek in the second round. But it's early days yet. But I think Phoenix hit a home run with that one, man. That may have saved their season because he's a ready rotation piece for them. Diamond says, I don't know about them. They ain't cool as well. Yeah, look, KD got some concerns over him. Knicks Kingdom says Ryan Dunn wanted to come to the Knicks. Yeah, most def. Would have been a cool story to have another local kid come to the Knicks as well, but another local product. But Dadiet is dope. Like Giles said, man, I'm happy with him so far. Look, he might end up being the better player. So yeah, can't get too down on that. What do you think about Memphis, man? Ja Morant, I think they're one injury away, but I think their ceiling is still pretty good. So I'm going to hold on Memphis right now. Now, Sacramento, fam, they're making moves. They're trying to get Brandon Ingram. There's talks that they've got one more move in them. They've brought in DeMar DeRozan right now. I kind of feel like they could move up, but I feel like we'll probably just need to wait and see. They are the Kings after all, man. And then the Houston Rockets. Look, there's pressure out there. They can't come to an agreement with Jalen Green. They can't come to an extension agreement with Alfred Sengun. So there's going to be a lot of contract players hungry for that next bag when it comes to the Rockets. So I'll probably, they did have a higher ceiling, but I'm probably going to sell on the Rockets right now, fam. So yeah, I'm selling on the Raptors. The Lakers, I'm going to actually move them up to a hold right now. I'm not selling on the Lakers just yet. Dalton Connect, man, 36 points the other night. LeBron, right, there's a lot of pressure on him. Maybe, just maybe, that they can be a top 5, top 6 team this season, man. So I'll move the Lakers up on that one. The LA Clippers, man. Not only am I selling, the Clippers are all the way down, man. Again, this is a stock watch. This ain't power rankings. So they're obviously better than the Hornets and all these other teams, but their stock is down, man. Kawhi Leonard, right? Indefinite out. No timetable given, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. I mean, non-Knicks fans try to clown Knicks fans for our history of losing. Well, at least we have a history, man. The LA Clippers, I can't even begin to imagine what it would feel like to be a Clippers fan, man. Maybe a Brooklyn Nets fan with that, man. Not only are you the stepbrother or stepsister of the city, but you also can't win, man. You suck. You can't win. You stink. You can't rid of that stench from the past. You can't get rid of it. What are we thinking about Golden State? Golden State, Steph Curry. They can't quite come to an agreement with their rookies yet, and so I'll keep the Golden State Warriors there. And then New Orleans, man. Again, Brandon Ingram on the out. Zion, more questions about him. So I'm going to keep it there, fam. That is the NBA stock watch for now. What do you guys think? Knicks Kingdom says, Knicks just have salary trouble, not worried about the roster just yet. Yeah, I agree with you, man, on that. Clippers have got Hart and Michael Drake, yeah. Issues seem to follow him, man, wherever he goes too. But Kawhi Leonard is keeping the bench nice and warm for those guys, Ryan. Harden, he's got paid the bag. That's the problem, guys that aren't as hungry. And I think that's where we'll kind of wrap up in terms of winning in the league, guys. It's difficult. You need guys that are hungry dogs. You need guys that haven't either prepared to take discounts, haven't got their full bag yet, or they just want to win. And I think that's why I feel good about our squad. We have guys that get it. They want to win ball games, right? Tom Thibodeau's our coach. He's not going to allow any of this nonsense, to sit out, steal checks like Kawhi Leonard, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, load management, back-to-backs, all of that. At least we've graduated from that nonsense where we're like, not only are we like a respected, franchise, a normal franchise, we've got respect around, other front offices, media as well for consistency right now. Our concerns are a different breed. Our concerns are, how can we get this guy back in rhythm? How can we get, the best out of this lineup? Our concerns aren't, paying a star that can't get on the court and all of those things. So I feel like, yeah, we're in a very good place. And yeah, man, it's going to be an absolutely huge, unbelievable season. I can't wait for Tuesday. And we'll see what happens when that all plays out, right? But let me just refresh to see any other latest news. And we'll see if anything's shaken out, right? So I'm going to bring this up from Fred Katz as well, guys. Salute to the chat. Love the energy tonight. And let's get it. So I'm going to bring this up on the bigger screen. So Fred's saying here, here's the details of the rule since I didn't have enough characters in the last tweet. So the New York Knicks can spend up to a total of 28 days during the season with fewer than 14 guys as well. And we can do it 14 days at a time, twice, right? So it's a little tricky. So what the Knicks are doing is they're trying to save a little bit of money. We've got 12 guys guaranteed. We can technically add 2 more. However, I think we're just going to wait a little and see who gets waived, see if, there's a guy that we need to grab. Hopefully Lonnie Walker. But we can operate this way for a couple more weeks before we have to do something, right? And I don't foreshadow that we're going to wait that long, man. I think we're going to add a couple bodies. I just think we're just trying to play it out, wait which player becomes available. I think which players become available and get cut before the regular season begins. But prayers up for Landry Shamet. I feel like things are looking pretty good in terms of if you're, optimistic about Landry, coming back on the New York Knicks in the future. I think it's a see you later for now. It's not a goodbye, right? But opening night is where it goes down, man. All eyes, all spotlight on the opening night in Boston, man. We can make a statement. We can put all this nonsense, negativity to bed. And the New York Knicks can get their season underway, man, with a huge win on Tuesday. The biggest thing I'm looking for, like I said, is the rotation. Who is going to be the 8th guy if Precious can't play? Right. We know it's going to be Cam Payne and Deuce McBride. But if Precious doesn't play, that opens the door for Sims, Huck Porty, Kolek, and Pacome Dadiet. I don't see anyone else getting in there. I don't see TJ Warren being that dude. After today, he was cut anyway. We'll see if they do add Lonnie Walker. We'll see if they add Mook Morris too. They can add one more guy on a veteran contract. And then they can add a 2-way player as well, fam. But like I said, I don't think Tibbs will change the starting unit, right? The starting unit for opening night, I think, is set, in my opinion. It would be a huge surprise if the lineup gets changed before opening night. But after that, man, all bets are off. I think if struggles were to continue, if Hart feels strong and goes to Tibbs and says, hey Tibbs, I'm open for this, man. Got to worry about my ego. I'm all in. I'm open to whatever you want to do, Tom Thibodeau. I like Hart's openness. I think Hart's a team player. He gets it. If he feels like the starting 5 can be better for now without him, and the bench can be stronger, he might go to Tibbs. I think he's always been vocal, his Hart, and said, look, whatever you need from me tonight, Tibbs, whatever you need, I'll do it, man. But I do think Deuce McBride holds the key. Precious Achiuwa, as the 6th and 7th guys, hold the key to any potential starting 5 shakeup, right? Those guys are our guys, man. 6th and 7th men. Cam Payne's definitely going to stay on the bench. He's that initiator. He's that energizer. And we'll see what else happens, man. But a tough blow from Shamet. Hopefully he gets right quick. And also Precious. We haven't heard anything yet. But I think the writing is on the wall that he is going to miss at least, a small portion of games. And we'll see what else happens, man. But yeah, man, great stream. We'll be back on, we'll probably be back on Monday, right? Outside of any other breaking news, we'll be back Monday to chop it up with the chat and preview the season, man. Let's get it on that one, man. Many blessings. Have a great weekend. And peace, everyone. Salute. Smash that like button if you haven't on the way out. Let's go.